Hi guys, Matt the Who Editor here. Welcome back to another edition to my class reviews. Now for those of you who might remember, but before Christmas 2016, I started doing a couple of review videos on the series of Class. The reason I had to take a break was because one, I had to work on my FA special. Thank you guys so much for those comments. I'm so glad you all enjoyed it. And also it was Christmas, so obviously I'd spend some time with some people I know, like my family and friends. We had a good time. I hope you had a good time. And the reason it took a bit so long is because I had some extra university work which I had to get done. But now I've handed in my work in, I've got some time before the next one, so I thought I'd continue with my class reviews. And now, the next episode. Let's kick off 2017 with Co-Owner of a Lonely Heart. Alright, let's get this one over with. Okay. Co-Owner of a Lonely Heart. The episode, when it came out, everyone was like, oh my god, what an ending! This is the best episode ever! What does this mean for April? Oh my god, this is the best episode ever! It's so good! That ending was so good! What does this mean? Oh, this is gonna be epic! Guys, you do know we had an episode before this, right? I kind of feel like Mr. Ty's reviews, or Trilby as he likes to be called, when he reviewed Asylum of the Daleks. And yeah, why do I feel like I've watched a completely different episode? Okay, so what's the plot? April starts to feel greater effects of sharing her heart with the Shadow King, and as the connection strengthens, she vows to reclaim her heart as her own. Meanwhile, something sinister is invading the streets, but at the same time, April suddenly meets her father, released from prison, and has to go through whether she wants him back in her life, but we also meet a new principal, who is obviously the series villain, who convinces Quill to turn against Charlie, whom she discovers has been lying to her the entire time. But we also get a love story with April and Ram. Okay, stop. You get the point. There is not one plot. There are 2 or 3 plots. Sure, April having problems with sharing her heart with the Shadow King whilst trying to reconnect with her father would be a good idea. It's a good idea. But the main flaw to the story is it's so dull. Every time I'm watching April's story, I just want to go back to the Petal Invasion story. Don't worry, we'll get to that later. Let's get this one out of the way first. Could I please talk about April, since this is her story, because I'm sure that April has been changing character in this series. Well, not a bad idea, it's just the problem is I don't see the same girl from episode 1. And whilst I think the actress is good at what she's got, there are moments where she doesn't know whether to sound shocked or uninterested. For example, she says something like, oh my, and, like the beginning and she's holding the swords, and she doesn't look shocked at all. She just looks like, oh, okay, it's happening again, whatever. If April's not interested in what's happening to her, why should the audience be? Of course, April goes through the usual shenanigans. She gets energy from the Shadow King and starts complaining in class about war, calling everyone cowards and being harsh to everyone. Whilst interesting as it is, but it's completely out of character. It's like she's trying to audition for a serious drama or a Shakespeare play. The actress is probably sitting there thinking, okay, if I do this right, if I sound so serious, maybe someone might ring me up so I can do a serious role. I mean, I know she was speaking out about the truth of war, and it's not a bad idea, but I really wasn't into it. There's a line she says when she's with Ram in a car, when they start a new scene, and she starts off by saying, I don't want to die. Whoever said you were? Did we miss a scene or something? What's going on? I guess we can tell that each part of the episode is suffering from editing, but maybe I'll talk about it later. Look, I just can't get into the whole April and Ram relationship. I have tried. I've really tried. I just don't believe it as much as I believed Ram and Tanya. Which also leads me to one of the biggest problems when it comes to a serious relationship stories. You thought episode 3 was forced when they had April just suddenly kiss Ram at the bus stop? This one is completely forced. They fight aliens, they have a kiss on the bus, and then they have sex together. In 3 episodes. That is not how you do a good romance. Clyde and Ronnie from the Sarah Jane Adventures is a far better love relationship because they were given time to work together, they were having fun, and then by the time it gets to series 4, they start to fall in love with each other, which they also question whether they should be together or whether they should just stay friends. That is a good example of a young relationship. Gwen Cooper and Reese in Torchwood was a good one too, because in series 1 we already know they were together, we already know they were boyfriend and girlfriend, but they didn't get engaged until series 2, which also series 1 leads them into different directions on, before they got engaged. As Doctor Who goes, Mickey Smith is by far the best male companion, because his journey with the Doctor and Rose, because he was left behind, he was done, he chose to spend a better life without Rose. How he ended up with Martha Jones, I don't know, but that was good. I guess some fans might compare Ram and Tanya with Amy and Rory, since the first time we meet them, they were already boyfriend and girlfriend, and then we find out they're getting married. But here's the thing. The reason Rory and Amy worked is because this was like the first time in possibly 50 years that we've had a married couple in the TARDIS. It also worked because it was supposed to be one of the main plots of the series, and the characters were given more time for the audience to get interested in them. It's giving them trials, it's giving them choices, it's giving them obstacles before the wedding at the end of the series. April and Ram's relationship is so forced that we weren't given enough time to appreciate their love romance or even accept it. But what makes it so worse is the potential that they could have had with Tanya. You remember me saying in my review of the Night Visiting when I thought this might be a good idea because we could create like a love triangle between Ram, April and Tanya? Nope, you can forget that because that doesn't actually happen. We could have had a sort of love triangle in this series, but nope. Instead, we get a scene where Tanya tells the others that April is in danger and mentions that they had sex, and she laughs. I'm serious, man. The first time I heard that, my mouth just dropped and my heart stopped. Patrick Ness, you have given us this interesting relationship in the first 3 episodes, only to then push it away and move on to a completely different story. Seriously, look at her reactions. When she enters in a slow pace, she looks beaten down. And then when Charlie says, something like, Ram and the Shadow King, I'm guessing it was supposed to be a joke, she walks off in a humph. I swear the original story was to have Tanya be heartbroken to find that the person she has been talking to, caring for, looking out for, has pushed her away and had sex with this other girl that she just met. I know it sounds predictable, but at least it would have made more sense than this relationship to happen. And, oh my god, this leads into what I think is the worst points of the episode. The Shadow King has been devalued in this episode. He's been underused in this episode. That is ridiculous. He's supposed to be the main villain, for goodness sake. We still don't know any more about him or his kind since episode 1. And we start the episode with the Shadow King being given this energy to connect to his heart piece to April, which also leads me to asking the same question, why did he do it in the first place? Sounds like a pretty dick move to me. Anyway, he's walking around in his home, which clearly looks like it was designed for the Daleks. Seriously, they've got eye stalks and everything. The Shadow King is talking with his servant, whom I can't tell whether it's a woman or a man, who says that they have a different way to cure his heart. And somehow I think the Shadow King is starting to feel April's feelings and actions, which then leads into this weird scene. In the human world, April and Ram have sex in bed. And I mean close-up shots of them kissing and sleeping, nothing nude, thank God. And I don't have a problem with it. I mean, I've watched Torchwood scenes that had way more uncomfortable sex scenes. But then we cut to this next scene, and it's the Shadow King having sex with the servant. What the hell? Ew, that is so weird, gross, and out of place at the same time. He is showing the colours of mate. What? And what's weird is that they go into the whole, are you not into it? Is your highness satisfied? No, it's not that. It's not you. It's the girl. And then they have a moment where he says, oh, let's do some cuddling. What the hell? Seriously, I don't know what the makers were intending to do with this scene. Was it meant to be a joke? Was it meant to be serious? Is it trying to be funny? Or what? I literally don't know what was the point in this scene. And guess what? It's never mentioned again, ever. I guess as the nostalgia critic would say, a big-limbed alligator moment. If you watch his reviews, you'll get the idea. And in the end, the Shadow King has opened another crack and he kills the servant for some reason, and then he starts to go and take over the world. So yeah, so far you're thinking, I hate this episode. Well, yes I do. But that doesn't mean there was something good in it. And in my opinion, there is one big good thing. You remember me talking about this episode seems to have so many plots? Well, one of the plots is much more better and more interesting than April's story. We see Charlie showing the box to Martez, explaining to them that he's lied, that there is something in the box, which we found out at the ending of episode 1. Apparently it's this box which contains all the soul of his people, which he's protecting them, but it's also a weapon. What I like about Charlie in this episode now is that he's interested in improving himself and learning, which is ironically funny for an alien. And this is weird. Tanya asks Martez, if he is all human. He gives him the gesture, don't yeah. And then she's like, right, okay, and she walks off. That was good. That was pretty good. But you still the whole I command you thing, which just stop saying that. It's completely being overused. He tells Martez how it works and that there's millions of souls in the cabinet, which Quill eavesdrops. It's then she realizes that Charlie has been lying to her. And that stings. Which is a shame because in the previous episode we see a shot of Quill looking at the kids as if she's starting to warm up to them. And only to be betrayed by Charlie in the next episode? Wow. Wow. Anyway, Tanya talks to Charlie and telling him not to treat everyone like his slaves or anything like that, and questions his authority as an alien prince, which he also questions about the choices and purposes of being a prince, which he also has doubts on whether he's a hero to his people or even if he believes that he can protect the box. This episode also introduces us to Dorothy Ames, the new headmistress of the school. And you can obviously tell she's obviously going to be the series villain. I mean, she's wearing red, for goodness sake. She has a lot of scenes with Quill since she is a member of the secret organization, the Governors, which was last mentioned in the end of episode 2, thinking she is a frightful member of the staff. Which also leads into one of the other main plots. Apparently there's this evil invasion of killer petals, and to be honest, that story is more interesting. If you want to hear more about what I think about this story, I'll talk about it more in my next review, which is a continuation of this one. There I'll say my final thoughts about what I thought about this two-parter. Anyway, she has a talk with Quill about her and Charlie's backstory. I think I caught a small John Smith reference, if you listen carefully. She also attempts to convince Quill and bargains with her. If Quill helps her with this invasion, she can take this controlling alien out of her head. I won't be explaining more because, well, I'll leave that for the next episode. Now, let's talk about the only thing everyone has been talking about ever since this episode. The ending. April has been getting phone calls from her father and she finally meets him at the car since he's been released from prison. Here comes another plot. A father and daughter bonding story. I was actually hoping that this was going to be a good story. I know we've seen these sort of stories where the parent turns out the cat, the child's like, no, I don't trust you, and then they do this thing, and all of a sudden when it comes to get the climax, something happens to either one of them, and then they start to reconnect with each other. But I was expecting a bit more of this, and what do we get in this one? Nothing much. No, just nothing much. I mean, okay, first off, what's with the father's speech? Is it the actor's voice? Is that meant to be the father's voice? I mean, whatever the plan was, I wasn't sure whether to show pity or just laugh. Apparently, he's responsible for paralyzing his wife and putting her in a wheelchair. Okay, I have to give the episode credit for that. I mean, we don't normally get that in a backstory in a drama series. I'm not including soap operas, so don't you dare put in the comments, well, what about any standards, because soap operas don't count. And he says he wants to be with his daughter again. Well, sorry, mate. With that speech and your arm movements, you do not act like a father. But apparently, she scares him away by nearly torturing him. I think this would have worked if it happened maybe later in the episode. Maybe have the car scene be when they first meet up, they go again, then she meets him again somewhere else, and then pull out the swords. But aside from that, I actually feel sorry for the guy. And after that strange sex scene, April talks to her mother about meeting her father. She talks to April about her keeping secrets, even though it's supposed to be a talk about her dad. They keep getting rammed into the conversation. But anyway, April's dad comes back after eavesdropping Ram about April being in danger. But at that point, April is suddenly controlled by the Shadow King with the swords again. That's because the Shadow King again attempts to heal his heart, which has April once again draw out her swords. She also begins to repeat everything the Shadow King says, which I have to admit that was pretty cool. The father tries to call the police, but April breaks his phone, which I have to admit, I thought she was going to slice his hand off. Thank God that didn't happen. But she still injured him. So the ending looked pretty interesting. But the flaw with that is what she says. Like, you are not my father. You should have stayed in prison. You've made me hate you. I think it would have been much better if we were given more time for this scene to have more impact. We only get 2 scenes with them. This is one of them. And she immediately rejects him. Maybe if they had more scenes with April and her father, maybe talk before she fully rejects him. And when she's about to attack him, I only had a couple of things in my mind. Whether she was going to kill him, miss him, or Mother was going to get in the way and get killed herself. Either way, my heart was pounding like crazy. And then she said, "You made me hate you." How? When? What? It doesn't make any sense. Again, show, don't tell. Once again, it would have been much better if they added more scenes with them to make that ending make more sense. Well, at least the music fitted in perfectly. But what I didn't expect was what she did to her mother. I thought she was going to kill her, but instead she somehow got her legs moving again. That was pretty cool. And I thought it was going to end it there, but nope, it kept going. April senses that the Shadow King has found her location on Earth, so instead she draws out her sword, opens a crack to the Shadow Realm, and goes inside with Ram following her. It was at that moment I was like, alright, okay, I'm in. So in conclusion, this episode is a dull mess. It has too many plot elements and scenes which doesn't know what to focus on. If the makers want to make a 2-parter story, then you can have 2 stories, but they need to make sure that they fit perfectly. Take a look at some Doctor Who 2-parters, or maybe the Sarah Jane Adventures. Each one has its 2-parter, and they managed to keep two story elements together because they knew exactly what to keep their focuses on. The episode does keep its focus on April's pressure on her father's return, but it's not executed well. It's almost like a small story being told in a slow pace. The only great moment for me, I think the makers put a lot more effort into, was the cliffhanger ending, rather than the entire story. So overall, Co-Owner of a Lonely Heart was a dull story mixed with a way better interesting story, but with an ending that paid off, with some good moments and unnecessary scene elements. It's not the best story, but I will give it credit for getting me hyped for the next one. So overall, I'm giving this episode 4.5 out of 10. If I was to run it around, I guess I could give it 5, but I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. I have to give it a 0.5. Since this is a cliffhanger story, I'll do a 2-part review where I'll be able to talk more about what I fully think about each story plot. So come back next time and see how the next episode goes. Be sure to leave a comment below, like and share this video, and if you've seen the episode, what did you think about it? And if you'd like to see more of my videos, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Let's ride.